World building. Well, it's a fair bit tougher than I previously thought. I've been designing a story for a while now, and despite my background in software, I prefer to use pen and paper for brainstorming ideas. However, with world building, there's a lot of back and forth. You write something new that contradicts the previous page, or a character's arc completely changes. I've tried using sticky notes so that I can freely move ideas back and forth or replace them if needed, but I've made the choice to move my work to the digital plane. It makes editing and rewriting so much quicker, plus, having a search index is infinitely better than trying to find a note you wrote 10 months ago. Now, despite the hours I've put in, I'm still in the very early stages of my world. I'll be using this YouTube devlog to stay motivated and consistent. Now, yes, I have previously tried this and it was a good learning experience, aka the polite way of saying it was terrible. I wasn't satisfied with the quality of it, it was rushed and poorly presented. With that in mind, I'm going to aim for quality and consistency for this series. The two major parts to world building is writing a compelling story and creating a world for your story to take place in. Presenting rough drafts and writing plots won't make for good content. Plus, if I ever manage to release the story, I'd basically be spoiling the entire thing. So instead, I'll focus on the physical aspects of the world. As for those aspects, to say there's a lot would be an understatement. There will be different biomes with flora and fauna, city planning with unique architecture, money, clothes, weapons, vehicles, creatures, law, religion, culture, myths, symbols, flags, food, entertainment, and magic. When a task is overwhelming, instead of thinking about clever workarounds, the best course of action is to simply muddle through. I won't do a whole month of just designing clothes. Instead, I'll switch from maybe currency to weapons, randomly picking between them to prevent the inevitable burnout that will follow repetition. And with that explanation is done, let's bring the first concept to life. I've been known to dabble in plants just a bit. You could even say I like nature, which makes it a fitting choice to start the first devlog with. Taking inspiration from the fairy elephant's foot and the artichoke flower, I started with a perspective guide, followed by a rough sketch. Now, as for style, I've tried cartoony before, but I didn't really enjoy the progress. For the rough color idea, I wanted to try out water paint. For 15 minutes of work, it's not too bad, but it's not the style I wanted. At this stage, I also felt the plant wasn't creative enough, it looked too similar to pre-existing plants. I started with cleaning up the sketch a bit and getting a basic grayscale down. After this, it seemed clear to me that the flower was missing something. The idea of adding a tuft of fur instead of the typical flower bristles or petals seemed like a good idea. Now, what plants have fur? And that's when I immediately thought, yeah, the truffula trees from the Lorax, they're the perfect reference for this. And after adding a silky purple top, the plant started to look a tad more mythical. As for rendering, to be honest, I'm not completely happy with my rendering style. I feel like it has potential to become something truly unique, but for the time being, I've just got to improve anywhere I can. For this piece, I really try to create harmonious colors. Plants are tricky. In reality, they are incredibly saturated. However, recreating that green without it looking fake or digital is a challenge. To help with this, I often played around with the hue tool or as many different other filters as I could just to get tons of color variations. After a good physical appearance comes the written description. When writing lore, names are easy. They are heavily based on appearance. Weeping willows, the branches droop and it looks like it's weeping. White stinkwood, the wood when skinned is white and it doesn't have a pleasant odor like that of chestnut or oak. As for lore, plants normally fall into one of these categories: beautiful for decoration, useful as timber or fiber, medicinal, and lastly edible. Nice and simple, you can pick one trait or have many. Most plants can be used for a variety of different things. And with that, here is the desert nova. The desert nova. Part of the succulent family, this desert jewel can be found hiding between rocks and crevices. This plant will gladly grow in a tight space as long as that space provides shade and shelter from the sun. Its leaves are firm and rough to the touch, however contain a smooth, slime-like fleshy core. Sprouting between 1 and 3 flowers each year, each flower consists of a leafy bud and a thin silky tuft. The tuft's dry bristles prevent sand and dust from adhering to the flower and allowing a gentle breeze to clean it after a sandstorm. Luxury linens and beddings are made from the purple fibers. Their durable and dry nature make for exquisite pillow stuffing. Due to the small flower size and slow harvest, Nova flowers are reserved for the wealthiest of individuals and rarely seen outside royal families. I think it's a good starting point. Now I've got to keep it up. Easier said than done. Thanks for watching.